It's been a damn long while since we actually done one of these.
Yeah, so separate video for what is quite literally the final Ravenloft session.
Maybe.
For now, at least.
Consider this the wrap-up to our...
existing shenanigans.
Yes.
I believe the key word for our channel is the word shenanigans.
Yes.
I thought it was faffing about.
That too.
I
That's
thought it was
2 words.
bullshit. Anyway. So, what began this final session? First up, our arrival at the GM's place, whereupon we saw what he had set up for us.
He had usually we
sit in the kitchen with 2 sets of tables paired up together. Usually just with a hex mat laid out.
Mm-hmm.
His GM stuff set towards one side of the room, and generally it's just not a big deal. This time, however, he pulled out all the stops.
He put together like 3 or 4 tables, possibly even more, and built a castle with a surrounding area out of miniatures and models for all set on this hex plate.
Also an adjacent forest that was to be revealed later in the given future.
Yes.
and I think I did manage to get quite a few pictures of it, so I'll go ahead and show you all right here what they look like.
Not all the faces are there, all there.
Huh?
Not all the faces are there, all there.
Oh, don't worry.
Ah.
If there is a picture of a face, I will blur it out.
This thing became so big that in order to calculate move distance for characters, we had to go ahead and use measuring tapes, with 1 inch being one yard in movement terms.
Yeah, so if you had a move of 6, you had to move 6 inches.
Yeah, not to mention, in order to actually get to the other side of the table, you had to walk at least 15 feet.
Yeah, that was a big setup.
And it became stupid because we started calculating, because there were certain characters who had ranged attacks, who had to go ahead and calculate the distances between target to target.
Garm.
Yeah, I finally got to try out Garm in combat, and he proved to be... Well, he had some really, really interesting moments.
Well, technically,
so-
all of our characters had interesting moments.
Well, some more than most, but generally speaking, this was so much of a clusterfuck of a character, of going through it character by character, that we're going to go ahead and simplify it for you. There were 4 main groups that were approaching... what's the
plot?
So before this, there's some scenes that we have to do with the main party before we get to the main point.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the battle occurs, upon which we will be going in the order of Lu, who was initially separated from the party and is now returning with a unit of elite soldiers under his command.
Yeah, that were given to him by a gargoyle.
Well,
I'm sorry, not a gargoyle, a vampire.
No,
What's wrong
the
with that?
vampire gave him a load of gargoyles.
Yes, the add-on gargoyles, the elite units of the vampire.
Strahd approached our...
Paladin. We've covered this. This has already been going on.
Okay.
Yes.
We have the Druid group, which features Tails' favorite priestess Xochitl and
Her Mantoy.
and Boy Toy Chasino.
I would say Mantoy at this one, because he did get some units and he got some significant levels in badass.
Yes, I know. But the satisfaction in calling him Wimp never leaves the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Accompanying them is the druidess Chalet, who is unfortunately Lu's mother. Lu's me and my big mouth.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
However, it eventually gave the GM a very good reason to put this character in this scenario, so it ended up being somewhat useful.
Shalea, who was...
And I say somewhat useful because we'll see the actual effect of this later on.
Yeah, one more character.
Also accompanying them was Garm.
Garm, the legendary archer.
We also have the Inglorious Bastards Company returning to go ahead and take care of one of the Gentleman Colors associates, Nino Drakov,
Nishashi, Turrel, and Mikhail.
Mm-hmm.
Mikhail. And lastly, we have the remnants of the main party, Abby, Alba, Chester, and Tara.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who by that point we just started calling Tatiana because we said the jig is up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's start with what happened before, because there's a lot of stuff there's actually some very important stuff that happened before with the main party.
Yes.
Yeah.
first of all, a reconnaissance mission.
Uh,
Oh boy, where do we begin with this one?
You start off by going ahead and having Abby take a potion of invisibility.
Yeah, because we didn't want to risk me running out of FP while exploring the castle.
So she sneaks into the castle and starts taking record of movements, who's going where, what's going on. There happens to be a big fuck you table in the middle of the castle.
And a Dark Lord who's slated for sacrifice.
Exploring further on, Abby goes ahead and finds said sacrifice and the sacrifice's daughter.
To which, since she couldn't manage to rescue the Dark Lord,
Who was bound by magic to stay there.
she ended up saving the child.
In probably one of the most comedic fashions possible.
Seriously, Benny Hill was playing.
So first off, she has to go ahead and convince the girl to come with her, which through a meaning of offering pie at some point, she manages to persuade her.
Damn pie.
She goes
Damn the pie.
She goes ahead and takes the child into her magic weightless backpack, or pocket dimensional backpack.
A 3-year-old child stuffed into a backpack.
4.5.
4.5. Whatever. A kid is stuffed into the sack.
Yeah.
And as soon as she happens to be making her way out,
Guards?
the invisibility wears off.
How derp.
No, I don't. No, it
No.
wasn't the invisibility. The invisibility never wore off.
No, it
throughout
did
the whole
actually.
thing.
Actually, yeah, it didn't.
It never wore off. What happened was the guards caught onto the act.
Because there happened to be this 3-year-old flying about with
Floating in midair.
floating in midair.
Upside down, no less.
Meanwhile,
And-
Abby immediately had to flee and wait for her potion of flight to take effect.
Yes, and using acrobatic rolls, she's dodging all the guards.
Upon which she starts running up air, and you can go ahead and start playing the ET theme music. Da da.
Just
shut up.
Da, da,
Shut
da,
up.
da,
Shut
up. Da.
Oh man!
Shut
so
up.
the GM actually takes the miniature and starts twirling it up into the air.
The air.
And the whole way while Abby was dodging it, she was trying to say, like, hey, baby's possessed or something. She was, like, trying to freak out the guards with
Which
it.
only worked for one turn, unfortunately.
It did work for one turn. The
And-
guards were just looking at this like, what the fuck am I looking at?
They're like, what the fuck? Holy shit, they're getting away!
And upon which she had to fly out of enemy range. She eventually comes back, rejoins the party, and meets with the rebel leader Ardon Cerzea, who claims to be the little girl's father. We say claims because there is a bit of an issue.
I think we get into that a little later.
But generally speaking, we have the support of the rebel army who are going to be attacking the castle at the start of the battle.
And that's when the battle starts, right?
Right.
We begin the battle.
So, starting off with Lu, who actually starts on time at the start of the battle.
Mhm.
Because of the way that was working out, Lu didn't have time to get much supplies, but he was basically able to go ahead and start off his turn normally rather than coming in later.
Alright.
And this takes over we're going up to roughly what 20 turns is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
About 20 turns worth every group. So Lu spends about the first 7 or 8 turns leading his gargoyle unit through the forest to reach a side of the building which is not only torn down but also lightly guarded.
Right.
And it also happens to be a shortcut straight up to the big baddie himself.
Which you're going to reach on horseback, which is going to be great.
Well, it would be great, except for the fact that he had 2 walls of men stationed appropriately in front of him that meant I could not walk my horse around.
Yeah.
However, once we got out of the forest and I was able to roll and line up the unit for a charging position, which we successfully did and made little work of the first handful of units, or the first flank of men.
Mhm.
Second flank of men, I had to actually switch to my main arm and then stab him out of the way.
Mhm.
So I managed to go ahead and kill 2 guys up by myself while the remaining soldiers take care of the remnants. A detachment follows me up to the main hill, whereupon which I have to roll HT and re-roll HT to make sure that my helmet does not burn off of my face.
It does
not explode off of my face.
Instead, it just liquefies off you.
Instead, it just liquefies off me. Thank God, because that would have been a bitch.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, so let's go ahead and move on to.
No, he's not. We're not done. We're not done yet. He has to make his. He fights his way through another set of. He has to kill 3 more guys before he manages to get to the big baddie himself.
Which we would like to cut for now.
And that's what I was stopping.
Okay.
I had to cut through 5 guys before I could actually get to the point where the climax occurs. But let's move on to the druid group.
Meanwhile, the druid group. Garm has come in on a boat.
He hates coming in on a boat.
He despises anything to do with boats.
Because he is terrified of water.
Well, he's terrified of large bodies of water, and to top it all off, he has severe motion sickness.
I believe he was like still wobbly, just even getting off the boat.
He was wobbling off the boat, but when he finally gets to the battle, he and the druids, as well as Tails' characters, go forward and they start making their charge.
I believe the first attack was Garm's.
Garm did, in fact, start attacking. I should point this out. Garm is a sniper. And he is legendary, even amongst the terms of other characters in this point.
Like, I believe his range is like 30 yards?
No. It's... Okay, he's actually got a range of, I believe, 50 yards before he actually takes a divisor to his attack damage?
Yes. That's his maximum effective range.
Yeah.
Yes. But 50 yards is, at the same time, a really severe penalty, at least a -6.
Mm-hmm.
That said, Garm has level 20 in skill when it comes to archery.
So he is quite literally a master.
He is a master archer. So I'm setting up shots that, after 1 turn of aiming, are basically shooting off at the skill of 23.
Damn.
And then taking off from there, I'm basically rolling like, I would say 12s or so, or 14s, in order to be able to score the hits.
Which is basically average.
Which is basically average, meaning that I'm picking off archers from the battlements before they even know I exist.
The first death was literally a soldier on the castle wall, who I believe got an arrow through the skull.
No, he didn't get an arrow through the skull. Both of them took shots to the torso. And the shots were so intense and surprising that it knocked them both down.
Yeah, knocked them off the wall, and then, aye! Splat.
Wilhelm's all the way. It was glorious.
Meanwhile, Tails' character goes ahead, rushes through the gates, goes ahead and tackles one of the main lieutenants, Malocchio.
Oh, there's that.
And
what was that?
And that one was kind of sad because she pounces on Malocchio, noms for the neck, and he rolls and fails to go ahead and be able to cast a spell to get away.
So he gets destroyed there.
He gets nommed to death.
Oh, but that was much later on in the late.
But that occurs within the same 20-turn distance.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And
So now I think that covers the most important aspects of it.
Okay, some less important stuff. The Inglorious Bastards group.
Oh,
God
the
damn
Inglourious
it.
Bastards group.
So, right off the bat,
You fail!
I have to...
Turrel blacks out.
Excuse me a sec. I have to roll to avoid going berserk. Again. I fail, and I immediately strike whatever's in front of me.
AKA Nishashi. In the groin.
No. What happened was not the groin at first.
It was a headshot.
It was going to be a lethal blow to the head. I would have basically decapitated Nishashi
rolled the target
twice.
and still got the groin.
The salt from that was real.
The salt was real.
Good God, the salt. And it was also repaid in full by Mikhail.
Who proceeded to try to decapitate you?
Which didn't work so well.
It
No.
didn't work at all, but...
I missed your head and I got your torso, which snapped you out of it, thankfully.
It did sort of snap me out of it, and I was suddenly standing there, dying, looking down at 2 of my comrades, one who's trying to kill me, and the other who's lying on the ground with a bleeding crotch. And I realize what I've done and decide to go ahead and send Turrel on a suicide mission. Go up to the gate, archers be damned, and try to smash it down like I did before.
However, what happened
Is along the way to the front of the gate, Tails goes ahead and plants a strawberry pie by Tails' feet.
We did not
By
mention
Turrel's
this.
feet.
Yeah,
Well, the reason I didn't mention it is because it wouldn't make sense without you being there.
Yeah.
So, as she was moving along into the castle, she attempts to go ahead and bring a wayward shogi, which
by the way,
appears at the 10th turn.
Yes.
Which appears at the 10th turn, plants a strawberry pie at Turrel's feet, and then immediately takes off in the opposite direction.
To which a said Shogoth goes to the
Palaces for the pie
And the
Gets
accompanying Turrel.
and the accompanying Turrel.
Nom nom nom.
Hence my hatred of pie.
Nom,
no.
Nom nom nom. Someone ended up dead.
Yeah, including one wayward druid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually asked a druid before the Shoggoth got me.
So Nishashi pretty much blanks out effectively for most of the fight until about the 7th or 8th turn, upon which Chalet revives him.
Save my boy!
And casts haste on both Nishashi and Mikhail.
Because my foot was crippled at
from the
moment.
last turn.
Oh, I forgot to mention, while we were trying to get my Mikhail's foot fixed, I got a magic crutch, which allowed me to move faster.
Slightly faster. And then you got enchanted with haste, so you dropped the crutch and ran off like a madman. Or
So much for
hobbled,
that.
Or hobbled off like a madman.
Yeah. Hobble off at super speed.
Yeah, you got the full 6 turns of it. Nishashi only got 1.
Before you passed out.
Well, no, after I got back up.
Oh, yeah.
For the that was 1 turn for the haste to take effect.
Yeah.
And the GM felt like that was so sad he gave me a 2nd turn for free.
Oh.
Not that it was going to be very useful considering I was so far behind the action that there was nothing I could really do. Literally, every time it was Nisashi's turn, it was limp 3 spaces and do nothing. It was sad. The closest thing I came to an action was at one point in which a Shoggoth fell off the castle wall and squished a certain character who happened to be underneath.
We didn't even mention these guys.
Oh yeah, at the 10th.
I mentioned it at the 10th turn when you were given a taste of humble pie.
But no. That was a different Shoggoth.
Yeah, but it was a part of the same group.
Yes.
It was all in the same group, so... But
the Shoggoth that ate Turrel later
a small one.
was a small one, very tiny. We're talking about a giant one the size of, like, 2 houses.
Yeah, this thing appears and...
It flattens and dissolves people to goo.
But before he gets to that, should I mention Chester, kinda?
Chester appears in the main party.
I know, but he did something that allowed Mikhail to get through the castle.
Well, I mean, again...
There's so much going on here, even I'm just starting to get a little lost.
Again, it comes with the main party.
Okay, but anyway, for the glorious...
that basically solves it, though, is that you get eaten, I do nothing.
Yeah, Mikhail, while trying to hack, after getting through the castle wall because of something later on, he starts hacking down as many guards as possible, and then proceeds to get body slammed by a Shoggoth.
And dissolved.
Yes. So Mikhail is effectively dead.
What do you mean effectively? He is dead! He has nothing but eyeballs!
Yeah, that was the last thing that didn't dissolve for some goddamn reason.
Because it hates to be
Because
creepy.
horror. Because horror is why.
Because
horror.
And see, if we had done it the long way of doing it in the sequential order, that would be even more mind-fuckingly confusing.
Yes.
So, shut up. Talk about how awesome your character is.
Okay, so the main party. The first thing Chester does is turn invisible. And proceeds to head towards the castle wall.
Yes.
Eventually, he was going to try to climb it just barehanded. Failed. Eventually, the other party approached and managed to get a ladder up, which I got on, and killed a few guards. And then the Shoggoths appeared, and I had a freak-out moment and fell off the castle wall.
You and about several other countless people who suddenly saw the reign of Cthulhu is nigh and lost their minds.
Yes, but my mind wasn't lost. I just passed out, fell on the ground, fell off the castle wall on the other side, woke up from that, and then proceeded to open the castle gate to allow Mikhail to come in to get squished.
And everyone else to move in as well.
To be fair, though, you didn't have to get squished. What happened was you did one all-out attack before the Shogoth got to move.
Which I didn't realize that was going to happen.
Well, given the fact that... Well, why don't you talk about what your character was doing in the meantime? Because you had some premonition of this.
Well, I didn't necessarily have a premonition of this.
You were being chased, don't you remember?
Yes. So when the
Shogis appeared.
Well, it wasn't just Shogis. There were all kinds of little other
There were
creatures.
giant worm things. There were like gremlin things with tentacle mouths.
And there were flying creatures.
But again, when the flying ones and the giant ones started approaching the castle,
two things happened.
When Relaya opened up.
Yeah. So two things happened. A, Terra fainted, and I had to have Alba catch her. B, Alba caught sight of the monsters, and after, I believe, one reroll, I managed to buy it down from, I don't know, like passing out on the spot to...
Running in Shigatera.
No. You're cutting me off. You're trying to cut me off here. I actually lost 5 years off of Alba's life. Which was actually not too bad, all things considered. I catch Terra, and I immediately start making my way up to the castle. And from there, what ends up happening is, while I'm holding on to Terra, I try to cast a haste spell on myself. Throughout the turns that this is happening, the monsters are basically going in and attacking everyone. The monsters fly over me and start attacking the soldiers on the other side of the wall. Everyone is freaking out, and in the panic, I go ahead and finish casting the spell and start running like hell. Which is a good thing, because everything starts trying to kill Terra.
First off, flying eldritch beings.
Which, thankfully, sailed over my head, but I was already moving, so I was out of the crossfire.
Secondly, giant blobby eldritch things.
Which land on the wall behind me and dissolve everything on it while I'm at the tower.
And then
Third, a giant fuck you cannon from the fall of Constantinople opens up in the southwest corner of the map and literally blows blows the castle wall from the inside out.
I am thankfully not anywhere near this wall at this point, though it was right behind me.
When that giant cannon appeared, I was like, what the fuck?
To be fair, as we later find out, the ritual that's going on that the big baddies are trying to do is trying to merge the Ravenloft universe with historical Earth for the appropriate time frame.
Yeah.
So mid-1600s, which happens to be where the giant fuck you cannon from Constantinople shows up.
Including the Turks.
Yeah.
Who do nothing.
Well, the Turks appear much later, and because they are... because
I think they come like after the 20 turns.
They come after the 20 turns. That's
so
what happened.
we'll get back to that.
So Alba continues running with Terra, makes it down the tower, dodges Shogoths twice,
and leaves the battle.
And leaves the battle entirely.
All
Code
right.
of honor, protect the helpless, etc., etc. Terra counts. I move out.
Now back to chess.
We're moving to the 20th turn marker, which is where everything pretty much comes together. Chester, if you would do the honors.
Well, still invisible, I managed to evade through a lot of the shenanigans. I managed to dodge a bunch of stampeding cavalrymen, aiming for Mikhail. And I get around, and literally, on the 20th turn, as R, the big baddie, was ready to plunge the knife into the Dark Lord, I had managed to get behind R and do an all-out attack, extra effort, backstab.
Which got a fucking crit. Of all the times to get a critical success, that was the best moment. Even though the dagger didn't actually do damage.
Well, it did do 1 point of damage.
It did at least 1 point of damage. Enough for him to take his to take his focus off of the victim for 1 second.
Yes, but the number one thing was that the crit actually managed the maximum shock damage.
Which he was like, no! And he basically, he dropped the Dark Lord. And then he freaked out and decided to do a massive magic attack that basically left me comatose for the rest of the battle.
Well, it was the madness spell.
Yeah, it was the madness spell, which hit me and basically left me unconscious, invisible, unable to be healed or rescued.
Well, your reaction was bullshit. How could he cast something when I'm fucking invisible?
And behind him.
Yes!
Upon which he says, "'Cause he can."
He's the bad guy. He has the nicest toys.
Which is a big fuck you. So much salt here.
So much salt that...
But you managed to stop the ritual.
So much salt
Which
and
is-
basically beef jerky now.
Which is important because then here comes Lu riding in and literally says, "Fuck you!" as he charges with his spear.
Yes. Up until this point, though, Garm has been creeping up onto the castle. I've been taking my time picking off my shots and eliminating archers from the battlements. I sneak up to the doorway, and I actually managed to catch sight of Alba and Terra running off. I don't do anything about that, though. I have bigger problems.
You're seeing R.
I see R on the battlements, and I get a brilliant idea. I have a technique that allows me to attack the eyes as a target for less of a
Normal roll.
default.
Yeah.
So, on top of that, everything else considered, it would take me at least 2 turns of aiming in order to be able to loose a shot that would travel all the way across the battlefield.
Like, we're talking 30 yards.
30 yards, up a hill, over the heads of a battling army and monsters to hit this guy square in the eyeball.
Unfortunately,
Lu turned his attention to him, and even though I got the reroll, thanks to the damn turn,
thanks to the skull resistance,
I did nothing. But it was the most amazing shot that the GM was even willing to ignore damage resistance for this one shot. If it had hit the eye! Damn it, Leo!
to be fair, it didn't matter because eventually I pulled off my favorite moment, upon which he attempts to smack me with a I think he's doing a scythe attack on this one.
Yes.
To which I riposte him with my shield a la Dark Souls, succeed, and then I get a consequent critical on the stab with my spear.
Which pierces right through him.
And hurts like a mofo.
And he's like, holy shit!
Again, Dark Souls moment. Like, done tabletop RPG style.
Yeah, just picture any time Legend was a badass in Dark Souls.
Now,
Oh, those moments were the good ones.
Now-
Then they started to suck.
now following this, he goes ahead and does the counterattack, which succeeds plunging the scythe right into my chest.
Yeah, just like a good...
But gets stuck there.
It gets stuck there, so he can't use it anymore, so he's stuck using his dagger now.
So the party, Lu continues to smack him around.
I believe you also went berserk.
The horse gets a turn to smack him around. At that point, he makes a last stand and tries to make a giant illusion of a necromancer appear above him, which doesn't work for anyone except Tocino. He basically runs out of FP to the point where he's going to pass out, and penultimately, the party just basically comes around this guy, stabby stab, 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 stabby stab, stab.
He then bursts into flames.
Bleeds a black skeleton, which turns to ash, and everything's pretty much over.
And then all the guards are like, holy shit. And also, around the time we were doing the whole stabby thing, the giant warp gate opened up that created the Canon of Constantinople.
Yes, and another thing that happened was the portal home.
Yeah. There was a portal home for Xochitl and Tocino.
To which they took.
Yes.
They took and they bolted.
So the remainder of the party manages to reconvene at the end of the battle and flees because of the oncoming mass of Turks.
However, before that happened, they had actually managed to wake me up.
Well, the spell was over once his face died.
Well, when I woke up and I saw what remained of R, and I failed my kleptomania roll, and took his dagger. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Abby took his cape, and consequently, because I already had it stuck through my chest, I just go ahead and claimed ownership of the scythe.
Which better start getting points in the great axes.
No need.
It was a sickle,
Oh,
not a giant grain harvester. It was just a
sickle.
A sickle.
Yeah.
One-handed sickle.
Okay.
So
And even then I eventually ended up not needing it, but that's for the epilogue session. So Officially, this is where the final battle ended, the official final session.
Yeah, which was insane, and I think that it went from about noon to about 7 or 8 at night.
Yeah.
It was a big session. Oh, and towards the end of the session, we also had the character. Since we had the characters convening together, everyone's asking where the hell is Alba, and Garm reveals that he's one hell of a tracker.
So we contrive a reason to get Garm and Nishashi to go with the main party, and we agreed to go ahead and have an epilogue session at a later date to go ahead and tie up loose ends.
Which was like about a week later.
About a week or 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and for that session, let's go ahead and get into that now.
So Lu.
We find
Lu finds Mama.
That's way later, you idiots.
Okay, never mind.
First off, you're stuck in the woods.
Yes, I'm stuck in the woods. Tara wakes up finally, and I basically have no idea what's going on. I get lost and lead Tara further into the wilderness.
Into fuck knows. Into bumblefuck.
Into fuck knows where. The Cthulhuid monsters are gone. We have no idea where they are, and all over Ravenloft, they are basically appearing and causing problems.
Yeah.
To the point they're actually becoming a part of the lore.
And eventually you are found by the magical hunter Garm. And
He's not magical. He's just damn...
He's so damn skilled, he might as well be.
Yeah.
I've just been around for a while.
Yeah, and he sounds like Clint fucking Eastwood.
That's what the tavern girl told me, but I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Suit yourself.
But anyway, I digress. So we go ahead and reconvene in the town of Karina, upon which the Dark Lord showers us with praise, and immediately as we start taking back another castle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the party all decides to decline because we have a bigger Dark Lord to go ahead and address. That being Lord what's-his-face?
Lord Strahd.
Strahd back in Barovia.
Who, I believe, Abby pissed off again.
Before we got over there, didn't we do something with the Dark Lord and their...
No, that occurred after when we... Actually, yeah, you're right. That does happen at the same time. So we go ahead and... Actually...
Think
Because
about
I'm trying to remember the time frame, because we skipped around between these two events so much that it makes it difficult to determine what happens when. Okay, I remember now. So, you're right. We actually do go to Castle Lupet first.
Okay, so we go to Castle Lupet
We go to Castle Lupet and we deal with stuff there because that's still technically fine for her. We go ahead, we recover there, we meet with the Dark Lord Gabriella Dere, who is thankful to Abby for rescuing her daughter Lucida, and thankful to Lu for saving her, period.
Right.
Down to the point that she offers Lu baronship.
Which Lu accepts.
Fuck yeah! Now, unfortunately, this comes with the unfortunate side effect that, I don't know how to phrase this eloquently, but Gabrielle...
Politics and administration.
No, more like politics of the Game of Thrones variety, which involves lots of fucking. To the point that her current, to the surviving lover of Madden Blancard is still upset that Lucita might not be his.
Oh my.
Upon which Garm intervenes.
Garm hears this on the other side of the door and makes a detect lies roll for both of them. And given that his detect lies roll is at 15, he passes both times and knows that they are both not lying. He breaks into the room, basically confronts the Dark Lord and her lover, and basically says, "Neither of you are lying."
Which happens to reconcile them.
Yes, I reconcile the lover's spats and walk away. Garm says no more.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
Garm withdraws coolly.
Garm withdraws coolly. Yeah, that is actually what happens. I have Garm leave everything before everything is done.
And now, Lu's mother enters stage left.
Oh boy.
So, Lu's mother Chalet enters the scene.
Did you have a sight stuck in your chest?
Yes, I saw the sight stuck in my chest because there's no mages in the party. We lost the only healer in the party, reminder.
Yes, but we did manage to get the sight out before you met your mother.
Yeah, that was because we found Terra.
Not necessarily
Yeah, I would say
what
that
happened was Garm sees the scythe stuck in your chest, makes an esoteric medicine roll. That says, okay, the best thing to do is to not do that. So we go to a priest, and then we go ahead and try to get the chest out.
Meanwhile,
He fails.
before that, I believe Chester told the priest, saying, "Hey, I'm hearing funny voices after that final battle. Do you know what's up with that?"
He says, "Nope. You can try checking yourself into a loony bin."
Yeah.
Joy.
So yeah,
But
we'll come back to
I don't think that's it. I don't. Again, not of much importance. What is of importance is that Lu reconciles with his mother. He gets the scythe. He turns over the sickle to her for purification purposes, and basically makes plans to go and have them move into his new castle once it's remodeled extensively because it has been fucked by 20 years of civil war.
Damn.
You have your hands full.
Now we go to Barovia after I think all that. I think that covers the most important tidbits.
Besides the fact that we made a child fly.
And that.
But that was more of just side.
Also, Abby.
Abby.
Abby has a pet shogi.
Abby has a pet shogi. You and Abby robbed a bunch of nobles at the party before we leave.
Yeah.
And Abby happens to pick up I would say almost a literal book full of secrets, affairs, and relationships between all the various nobles of Amidia. which is going to be very useful for me in the near future.
You're probably going to be one of the most successful barons or nobles in Nvidia as of this point.
We will find out that time will tell on that one. Time will tell on that one. But so we go ahead and after the party make our way towards Barovia and meet and
have a chat with Strahd.
And meet with Strahd in Dusseldorf.
So, what happens is, I realize that, oh shit, I picked up something during the final battle from the demon. I'm pretty sure that my head is being fucked up by it.
So, you attempt to offer Strahd the weapon.
The problem is that the only way for me to give it to him is for Chester to die.
To which he punches you across the room and Tara stops him from...
killing me.
Wait a moment. It's not Tara at this point. It's...
Tatiana. But same person. Same person.
Yeah, so basically, I'm stuck with the Fang of the Nosferatu.
Which is a cursed weapon that forces you to kill things.
And it's like a...
It's like a miniature version of the Turrel sword.
Yes.
Which has been lost.
Yes, it's gone. It's gone.
People are now keeping an eye out for it because it's bad news.
So... Strahd telepathically throws you to the wall with a force push.
Which I'm surprised didn't crack my skull open.
I'm assuming he pushed on the chest, not on the head. But still,
I basically hit a wall.
Still, you survived and you turned invisible and ran for the hills.
Yeah.
To which he says the hills are now closed and keeps you there for, hours?
He keeps the borders closed for about a week and then eventually says, "Fuck, I don't know where he is."
Yeah.
Because he's fucking invisible. Opens it. Chester runs over the border and hides in Castle Lunador, which is Lu's property, and waits for him there.
Yes.
Other things for other characters.
Abby.
Abby
goes ahead and finds out the history of her origins and is officially given the title of Keeper of the Shogi.
Keeper of the Shogi.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It takes a whole ritual to shrink down this shogi to pet size.
Which required Strahd's intervention.
Strahd's intervention. The fucking damn buyer had to intervene on this bullshit. And she now has a pet shogi.
Who she feeds strawberry pie.
Why?
Because she can.
Because she
can.
Fucking can.
And I know
the
for a
only
fact-
goddamn reason that this even happened is because she's frickin' married to the GM.
Well, the other thing is that this was actually an in-joke between her and the GM that eventually finally carried over and happened in the final battle.
Yeah.
Which is, in its own way awesome.
I think it was kind of a carryover from a promise they made on Valentine's Day, so I mean, there's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do remember on Facebook they posted that I think she posted the finished strawberry pot and shogi piece, fully painted.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, I think I remember that was being a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Lu managed to get a whole cache of weapons, which kind of made Strahd furious. It wasn't for the fact that he was mainly responsible for bringing Tara back.
Well, you were the second person responsible for bringing Tara back, and also for stopping the world from going to shit.
Well, he doesn't really care about that.
I know, but he still gave you some credit.
Yeah.
Then he immediately turns to me. Alba.
What the fuck does the Wanderer Who Wants Nothing want?
It takes me a little while, and we go through different characters before this finally happens, but I finally figured out and asked Strahd to show me the library. To which we come up with a sort of mutual agreement. I get to use the library and all the knowledge that's already there, and I may add knowledge to it if I find anything on my travels.
To which you present him with the fucking book of the freaking necromantic book that was basically as big as a car.
Well, it wasn't as big as a car. I wouldn't have been able to carry it. It's a 20-pound freaking book of the entire school of necromancy.
So about half the weight of my cock.
Shut up, Leo.
Not half as much as your ego.
But
this actually works out mutually beneficially. Strahd now views me not only as the person who helped save Terra. Heck, I was mainly responsible for saving Terra from the battlefield. But now also as a contributor to his magic stores, and as a friend who, after certain events happen, he can actually count on somewhat in certain ways. I am now a confidant of the Vampire Lord.
Also, he got notes on planar magic and a magic dildo. One was from Lu, the other was from Abby.
As well as how to
Bet a Hauptmann.
How to Bet a Hauptmann.
Which is Tara's favorite romance novel.
And she makes good use of it.
At least until she dies.
Yeah.
Sad thing happens.
She wastes away because of the fucking curse, and happiness doesn't last forever.
And basically all of
Barovia pays for it.
Pays for it in a month-long torrential downpour.
Yeah, Strahd was not... Well, I would say Strahd was not happy, but that implies that he was angry. Strahd just fell into depression. I offer Strahd, as Alba, if I should find Terra in my travels, I will immediately let him know. And I leave as, again, a confidant of the Vampire Lord.
Yeah.
Neither on his side, but not against him either.
Yes.
I think at that point there's minor ramblings for other characters. We get information about certain other things. We get absolutely no resolution to the side plot involving Alistair's adopted daughter and the Baroness's younger sister.
And Abu.
Yeah.
The Thief Lord of
the Thief Pimp of Damon Lu. The Thief Pimp of Damon Lu.
God damn it. This is Ash and...
This is Ash and Zaren's adopted kid.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And also, another thing, Lu and Chester meet up at the castle.
Well, that's something that might come up in the future. There is a,
Well, should we
There's
mention...
the potential of a particular one-shot that may be occurring which features certain characters from a prior investigation that may become relevant in the high future.
And let's just say Chester may not be all there anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think you're all there at all at that point.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that generally covers the last adventure of the Ravenloft first campaign we've ever done for Ravenloft and our general overall experiences with it.
Yeah.
Yes. And overall, I'd say we were batshit insane.
From day one.
From day one.
Oh my gosh.
From day one, where we traveled through a time-traveling castle.
To the very last point where all the shit that we've ever gone through and done and learned all comes together in a glorious grand conclusion.
Yeah. And along the way, we always managed to way to screw over the GM.
And at the same time, dumbfound him with... The GM was having just as much fun as we were.
Yes.
Like, we would suggest something absolutely ludicrous and crazy, like, for instance, flashing the archer so they don't shoot us. Flash the titties and run.
Or doing incredibly stupid shit like dealing with a room full of goblins by suffocating the entire room and holding the door closed.
Or finding a way to cure the fucking Black Plague.
or reminding the GM, by the way, my character can fly.
Or bartering yourself out of an entire dungeon encounter by giving the were-tigers what they want.
Shoryukening a were-tiger.
Oh god. Breakfast at Alistair's.
Impulsiveness for the win.
Summoning a giant fireball nuke.
Seducing the Dark Lord.
And living.
How many times has that happened? No,
Well-
actually. 1, 2, 3.
Several times, yes.
Oh god, this game.
Getting away from a vampire's castle by putting on a strip show.
Yeah! That's it! And I was the one who provided the music!
What about the time where you went where the time where Miko shat himself appropriately
On the toilet.
Because of a fucking Baskerville hound?
Yes.
And what about the time Tails' character stole my pants?
And you blamed me for that! It was the perfect crime. Not even Tails herself knew about this.
Let's see.
Oh, man. It was so good.
The whole thing where Ivan Lit was effectively the longest active playing character.
He was so long. He lived for so long, your own spear became inadequate.
Good lord.
The Revenge of the Mushining.
Oh, fuck you!
I see
you!
Shut up! Shut up, you fucks!
Miko stares into space.
Sees everything!
Miko, the damn lucky rabbits. There was so much stuff.
If we ever do another campaign, I may bring Miko back, just for the hell of it. I'll find a way to bring him back.
No doubt. No doubt.
No doubt.
Alright, I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah!
I'd say so.
This is Leo Force.
This is Dead Zero.
And this is Legend Hunter signing out.
Later, guys!
Bye.
Ciao.